I didn't dream of being like Barbie. How did Margot Robbie escape poverty, conquer Hollywood, and make the world fall in love with her? Margot Robbie's life resembles one of Disney's magical fairy tales. She moved to the United States from faraway Australia, armed only with a dream of working in the movies, and in a short time became one of the most sought-after Hollywood actresses. However, the success of Robbie this is not a series of happy accidents. Her meteoric rise preceded a long and grueling labor and passion for the profession on the verge of fanaticism. As part of a series of materials about the fate of celebrities, LENT.RU told about the rules of nutrition and training Robbie, as well as how she made herself love the whole world and thus avoided star disease. At the end of July, one of the most anticipated films of this year, the full-length feature film Barbie, was released in the world box office. In the story of the famous doll, forced to live in the real world among people, the main role played by 33-year-old Australian Margot Robbie. She also acted as a producer of the project. The first time I saw the script, I thought we wouldn't be allowed to make this movie. My reaction was, oh, this is really good. What a shame that this project will never see the light of day, because we won't be allowed to make it. But we were allowed to. In the words of Margot Robbie, as soon as the picture was given the green light, Margot immediately agreed to put on pink and shiny outfits to show everyone that uniqueness and soulful qualities are much more valuable than flawless plastic beauty. At the same time, the actress never considered the role of Barbie as a life's work. She was completely indifferent to this doll even as a child and preferred, instead of the traditional girlish games, to build forts and mold mud pies with her two brothers, sister, and friends. In those years, Robbie could not imagine that she would become one of the most influential actresses in Hollywood, twice nominated for an Oscar and the new sex symbol of a generation. Cinderella from Australia's Gold Coast, Margot is often called Hollywood Cinderella, and this is partly true. Only on her way there was no good fairy godmother, so she had to rely solely on herself. Childhood of the future star cannot be called simple and carefree. The girl's father left the family when she was barely 5 years old, after which her life changed a lot. The mother had to single-handedly take care of 4 children, and she disappeared from morning to night at work in the hospital to make ends meet. Because of this, Margot spent a lot of time at her grandparents' farm, helping them harvest crops, take care of the animals, and even chop wood. My mother's family grew wheat, and my father's family grew sugar cane and mangoes. So I know as much about fertilizer and irrigation as I do about acting, and I didn't grow up a runner. I can still milk a cow or chop a stack of firewood, said Margot Robbie. Despite being busy at work, the mother of the future actress very responsibly approached the upbringing of children and cared that they are all-round development. She saw that Margot grows curious and purposeful, so she wrote her in a variety of school circles of interest, including water rowing, softball, dancing, and circus section. Robbie also tried her hand at the theater studio, and acting quickly became her true passion. To hone her skills on the audience, the girl at every opportunity arranged at-home improvised performances. I was obsessed with movies and TV shows, and everything I saw played out in front of my mother. I even made my family pay to watch my shows. No kidding. If I want something, there's no stopping me, said Margot Robbie. Robbie showed her punchy character even after graduating from high school. She not only went to a private college, Somerset, but also got 3 jobs at once, to at least a little help with money torn between home and hospital mother. She worked as a waitress in a bar, cleaned hotel rooms, sold souvenirs and drinks at a beach stall, but did not give up the dream of becoming a professional actress. During a year of such a life, Margot managed to save some money, and this amount was just enough for the first installment of an acting course in Melbourne. The aspiring actress was only 16 years old when she moved from the province to a huge metropolis, where she initially had a very difficult time. During the day, the girl studied. In the evening, worked as a sandwich seller in the Subway snack bar, and in her free time went to all sorts of castings. Conquer the big and small screens. Robbie started from the bottom with roles in the crowd, and so tiny that her name is often not even indicated in the credits. For the first time, she was really lucky. Only a couple of years later, in 2008, Robbie unexpectedly for herself was approved in the main cast of the famous series Neighbours, a long-lived Australian TV. This project provided her work for 3 years and brought 2 nominations for the prestigious Australian Logie Awards. Heroine Margot so loved by viewers that she could successfully star in the show for several more years, but this was not part of her plans. The actress wanted more, so, despite the entreaties of producers, she did not extend the contract and went to conquer Hollywood. The new sex symbol of Hollywood. The decision to move to the United States cost Robbie a relationship with longtime boyfriend Matthew Thompson, who did not want to live on another continent. Did not meet a young actress with open arms and Hollywood. About 6 months, she from morning to evening unsuccessfully went to numerous auditions. A series of endless refusals interrupted the invitation to the role of a stewardess in the series Pan American, which in 2011 launched the channel ABC. Despite the fact that the show started loudly and just as loudly failed, having existed only a season, Margot did not miss her chance and did everything possible to be noticed. It was this project that became her ticket to the big movie. I moved to America with some money, which should have been enough for 3 years if I remained unemployed, but I was very lucky, and I quickly got a job in the series Pan American. I played a stewardess, and then somehow, everything spun. In the end, hard work and perseverance bore fruit, but I will never sell my soul for a big fee. This is exactly the words of Margot Robbie in 2012. The actress starred in the sci-fi drama Boyfriend from the Future and in the same year received an offer to undergo casting for the role of trophy wife in Martin Scorsese's film The Wolf of Wall Street. After the stunning premiere of this picture in 2013, Robbie woke up famous. With a pretty blonde with extraordinary acting abilities wanted to work with the leading directors of Hollywood. In the next few years, her filmography was replenished with such projects as French Suite, Focus, Zemin Zachariah, Tarzan, Legend, Two Queens. Glossy magazines fought for the right to publish Margot's face on the cover, and Time magazine included her in the list of the most influential people under 30. With each new picture, Robbie's popularity continued to grow, and at some point she had to face the downside of success and fame of the sex symbol. The actress was completely unprepared for the increased attention of the paparazzi and internet hate. She was literally thrown into trembling every time she was chased by journalists. For a while, photographers were on duty outside my house just to catch me looking awful. They followed me around, hiding and waiting. As soon as I grabbed a burger, drank a beer or went out without makeup, they would take tens of millions of photos and choose the 3 most horrible ones. After that, I would get dozens of phone calls from the studio. I would sit on the phone for hours and listen to them scold me, said Margot Robbie. In 2016, Margot starred in the blockbuster about supervillains Suicide Squad. The role of the Joker's friend Harley Quinn became a calling card of the actress, but to better match the image, she first had to improve her physical shape, as well as master the elements of acrobatics and aerial gymnastics. Hard work and discipline on the verge of fanaticism. Despite the fact that Robbie did not have to drastically gain or lose weight for the role, how hard she prepares for each project in Hollywood is legendary. The basis of her training: cardio exercises. The star loves running, surfing, and also goes to boxing several times a week. Other types of exercise she adds depending on what is required of her in the scenario. So, to better get into the character of Harley Quinn, Margot, for 3 weeks of intense strength and high-intensity training with a focus on abs and buttocks, took body ballet classes, and spent a lot of time stretching on the loops and yoga. The role of scandalized figure skater Tonya Harding required even more effort from her. I had to learn to skate from scratch. I spent 4 months practicing 5 times a week. It was incredibly hard. I went all bruised and got a herniated disc on my cervical vertebrae. But it was worth it, said Margot Robbie. In addition, to achieve the athletic and flexible figure of a professional athlete, Robbie stayed in the gym throughout the preparation period, under the guidance of personal trainer David Higgins, who also worked with supermodels Naomi Campbell and Claudia Schiffer. She tried to build muscle mass, strengthen legs. For this, she squatted 100 times a day and worked hard on the outer thighs. Margot, in recent years, trying to adhere to a balanced diet, although not once admitted in interviews that does not consider herself a fan of diets. In between shoots, she can afford beer, burgers and French fries, but prefers not to abuse them, so as not to spoil the figure, and after eating fast food always arranges unloading days. A typical day of the actress usually begins closer to noon. For breakfast, she prefers a smoothie or porridge with berries, fruits, or nuts. For lunch, she most often chooses a protein meal, legumes, salad with chicken or baked chicken and lemon juice with a simple salad of cucumbers and tomatoes, with olive oil, and for dinner, sweet potatoes with tuna steak. Sometimes in the evening, Robbie can afford a glass of white or pink wine. At the same time, the actress often skips the morning meal, as a periodic refusal of it, in her opinion, is beneficial to the figure and digestion. However, to such restrictions, she resorts only in extreme cases. When she needs to look flawless at the presentation of a new picture or during filming. In the offloading days, on the advice of David Higgins, Margot practices interval fasting. Proper diet and exercise are the norm of my life, but I'm not going to live just for the sake of it. To be honest, I feel like my body looks better if I get more sleep than after an hour at the gym, said Margot Robbie, producer of her life. If you believe the tabloids, Robbie's personal life is very turbulent, but every now and then publications appearing in the press have little to do with reality. The actress has repeatedly attributed to novels with partners on the set, but she has always refused to comment on these gossip, because she is not ready to bring her personal life to the public. Only one thing is reliably known. In 2014 in London on the set of French Suite, Margot met with assistant director Tom Ackerley. Between them broke out a stormy romance, which 2 years later ended in a wedding. Now Tom and I are not just husband and wife, but something more. I've always been very reluctant to think about marriage, by the way. I thought it was something unbearably boring, but with Tom, everything came easily and naturally. We lived side by side, and then we felt that we should be together. And it turned out that marriage is very cool, said Margot Robbie. Together with her husband and friends Josie McNamara and Sophia Karabi, in the same 2014, founded a production company, Lucky Shop Entertainment, specializing in the development of projects in which women do not have to be the wife or girlfriend of the main character. The actress in general has always been concerned about the place of women in the movie business, and she has repeatedly stated the still existing inequality in the industry. Being a woman in Hollywood often means that you will have to face and fight humiliating situations. Men will offer you chauvinistic roles, thinking it's the limit of your dreams. But even those of us lucky enough to have a notable career are still standing in the shade of the big trees, realizing that we have to grow up under the amount of sunshine we are given, said Margot Robbie. The debut project of the young production company was the film Tanya, Against All Odds, which received 3 Golden Globe nominations. Soon the list of films released by Margot and her partners was replenished with the films Girl, Hopeful, The End, Dreamland, Birds of Prey, and the sensational Barbie. Today, Lucky Shop has its own office in Los Angeles, a contract with Warner Brothers, and an impressive list of plans for the development of films. Almost all of them star women. After a childhood full of financial hardship, Margot has finally secured a decent future for herself and her family. Thanks to hard work and hardened in the tests of character, she did not save herself in the face of failure and achieved everything she dreamed of in her career and in her personal life. The popularity of the actress is growing every year, but she does not intend to stop there, because she is not waiting for the Hollywood Prince Cinderella. Robbie, producer of her own life and on his own example, proved that even in the ruthless to the slightest weakness of the movie business, woman is quite capable of achieving everything without connections and help from men.